and welcome to Truth and Transparency. Good afternoon, welcome to the Transparency. Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Not sure if this is working,
but today is not a day to celebrate. With the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi.
Take care, Miss Vargas. See you soon, Miss Vargas.
Paparazzi, stop.
All right, what is good, guys? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. It's a Tuesday night. We're going to jump right into it. It's going to be a quick one, about a 30-minute live. For those of you guys that have not seen this before, but this little Garrett discovery, you're looking at 14 pages. And this Garrett discovery is ranked by incoming links, ranked by outgoing links, ranked by total links. Okay. And it breaks down. Then we get to the entities by type. And now this is allegedly Brian Kober's. Okay. And there's 6 aliases. Brian Kober, spelled with the B and the K capitalized. Brian dot Kober, all lowercase. Brian dot Kober with an extra R. BK5781. Brian dot Koberger dot PhD. And then criminology _ student. All trails user. Brian Slight. And then Cash App user, Brian Kober, the B and the K capitalized. So not sure if you guys saw this. But this is what was sent to me. And then there was 2 email addresses associated with this, which has at WSU.edu and at desales.edu. Now, again, hello to everybody. I'm going to be laying this down. I'm going to show you guys some stuff. But if there's stuff that's just not needed to be shown, I'm not going to. Entities by type. So it's saying that affiliations, there is 1 Twitter account. Like I said, those 6 aliases. And then we get to Instagram users. Now, and then literally you have all of these screen names. And then it just goes on and on and on and on to equal out to being 1,089. Okay. And where to begin? I think the first thing I want to talk about is the ranked by incoming links. I am Cookie T. And then that's the only one that's, I'm sorry. Then the second one here is this Twitter. And that's the Brian Kober with the lowercase K. And these are accounts. These are people's accounts. But ranked by outgoing link. And right here, it has 108 outgoing links. So we're gonna get back, and we're gonna come back to this. But I went through these, and anybody that thinks that this is somebody's real account, I think would be fucking crazy and foolish, because who the fuck are these people, right? So what we did is we Googled all these people and we researched all these accounts, and they're all troll / fake accounts. Like, I mean, it's just so overwhelmingly obvious. And so just so everybody is clear about some things, the police decided to tell the families prior to arresting Brian Kohlberger that they were going to arrest none other than Brian Kohlberger. And it gave the families and whoever they told the name Brian Kohlberger, probably where he was from, and this is going to happen in Pennsylvania because he's at home at his parents' house, this whole arresting him. And so you had this window of time between, 2 to 3 hours. Okay. Which I even now believe more so than ever right now that window was actually way wider, because I believe that there's a leak in the police department. I believe that things were 100% being leaked back then. So you have this window of time before any and everything would have been shut down, as far as like law enforcement making it and disabling things. So in my opinion, and I think a lot of people out there are going to share this, in that 2 to 3 plus hour window of time, who knew that it was going to be Brian Kohlberger? Who knew that name was going to be Brian Kohlberger? And then how did all these fake troll / accounts show up? Well, because people knew. People knew. And so, like, who would go through, I mean, to sit here and say, okay, that this account is associated with Brian Kohlberger, and I'm guessing it's his Instagram. So who's on here? And the thing that doesn't make sense to me is, then why is Brian Kohlberger's name on here? He's following himself. Brian Kohlberger is not only just there. Where is it? Okay. But then it's over here because he's got like the all in caps part. Yeah, 4chan was like how he's chilling up in the Poconos. Whoever was saying that. I remember that. I mean, cocktails and more. Like, that's somebody's name. But we have one. So then I found, so there's 2 Brian Kohlbergers. Then where was the one that I wanted to show? I was just like, what the fuck? I'm not showing it on the screen for long periods of time due to all of the different names and due to the troll activity of trying to strike stuff that's not true. None of these people are real. None of these people are real people. I don't know if you guys have gone through any of these. So then why is this being peddled as it's like this is his account and this is like who he's following, and why would that be peddled that way? Like, why isn't there a, hey, this is what this is, this is what the person that would have went ahead and did this. The other thing that I think is interesting is 5889. That's not the number. That's locations, Fairfield, Connecticut. Okay. That's not his last 4 digits. I mean, I just can't, I don't understand who. I mean, we've gone over the, what do you call it? We've gone over the PCA how many times? You guys do know that the last 4 digits are not 5889, right? Again, this is a Garrett Discovery product, and it was pushed to me. It was pushed to me that here you go. Here's proof that Brian Kober was stalking and following these victims, and that this wasn't some, fake account or whatever the hell. And I'm just like, well, that's not what I see from this, and nor does it say anywhere in here Garrett Discovery's talking in any way, shape, or form about anything. So the only person that could tell you what this is about is Garrett Discoveries, right? But why is this being passed around? I think that's my question. Like, here you go. I think this is fucking nuts. I think it's so stupid. I think that if you want to take the time to go through all these accounts, you're going to come across the fact that all these accounts are troll accounts. And when I say troll accounts, I mean they're just fake accounts. These aren't like who the like, here you guys go. Go ahead, search these people right here. Go ahead, search all these people right here. Look at this. Here you go. How do we look that shit up? Go ahead, look all that shit up. Okay, Brian Kober kept to his motherfucking self. You think that he had all these people and was running some, like, this isn't his style. So I don't know what this is for. I don't know what this is about. This was given to me, and to me, it means absolutely nothing. So again, all I can tell you is where I got it from, and it was given to me by Steve Gonsalves. That's who gave this to me. No idea what it's for. Don't give a fuck. So no idea. I think that that's just a bunch of shit, and I have no idea why it's being peddled around. So anybody that got it, I have no idea what to tell you. I don't think that Steve, I mean, obviously it has Garrett Discovery on it. So go ask Garrett Discovery what it is. But more importantly, what I was able to see was back in the day, there were Instagram accounts that people were able to try to clone Brian Kober's Instagram account or an account that he would have had on a different platform But you would have needed time to do this. And the only thing that you could possibly get time-wise to be able to do this, myself, Bella included, we were all over this. The minute that the name Brian Koberger dropped from, the arrest, I mean, we were already on it that, okay, let's start checking the Latah County, Latah County, who was arrested today? Who's arrested? And then there's nobody. That's why people were running with, it has to be this person, it has to be that person, because they were looking at and doing kind of what we were, is looking and seeing who was arrested on. And every day we would check to see who was arrested in Latah County. Okay. And what they were arrested for. Okay. So when they said there was an arrest in that case, in the Idaho4 case, people had ran with a couple of different names because of the people that were arrested in Latah County. Little did they know that Brian Kober was actually being arrested in, Pennsylvania. So you better know the county there to try to go ahead and get, it's you'd have to know the county, and then you could possibly try to track that down. But you wouldn't have to do any of that stuff if in fact you did. I'm not saying that I don't think the document is real. The document is real. You have to go and contact Garrett Discoveries and ask them what, and in fact, the document is from and how they did everything. But I think that anybody else to be, anybody else to explain that document that it's not their document, I just think that that isn't wise. So let Garrett Discovery explain that document and all the pages that go with it. That's how I think it should be best handled. But I do know that back in the day when Brian Kober was arrested, his name was given to the families prior to his arrest by hours. And so therefore anybody that the family told had the opportunity, as well as did the families, to get people doing X, Y, and Z. Okay. Or doing it themselves. But when we tried to get on social media platforms and tried to pull everything that we possibly could on Brian Koberger, and we were on it, in fact, we thought that we had the right account, but it was gone. And these accounts that we took pictures of and saved and attempted to memorialize with screenshots, these accounts from the different social media platforms, again, what we can look back to is because we saved the links, that when you go back and you check these links, they are now a completely different name than Brian Kober. It's like me and Bella were talking about it the other night. It's wild shit. Pretty Pony and shit like that. I don't fucking know. They were clearly people like fucking around, trolls, right? But I said to myself, whoever took the time to know exactly what accounts were possibly out there that Brian Kober was, friends with, or that they tried to then put on this account and to be able to claim that you had to have intel, you had to have time to do that. And the only people that had time to do that would be people that had the time. It's that simple. That would take time. And so someone like me or other people that all got that name at the same time and not hours before, we didn't have that time to do that. But there are people out there that did have that time. So do I think that that's going to come up down the road? 100%, I think it should. Okay. Because people were going, when you want to talk about a media hit piece, there's been media hit pieces since day one on Ann Taylor. Fuck, they try to get a petition going to get Ann Taylor off the case. Okay. Because of this alleged conflict of interest with, the parents that were ever in trouble. It's been one hit piece with the media after another. And it started with people trying to fuck with online accounts and make these fake Brian Koberger accounts. So if there ever was a real one, right, But these fake Brian Kober accounts existed by the time that you were looking up his name. When you had just gotten that bit of information, which, like I said, we got right away. We were covering this case very, very diligently, to the point that when that name come out, and everybody's going to Google it, look it up, find it, how we were able to find these accounts that were fake, but had who could create those accounts so fast? And I just felt that that those weren't created in just a couple seconds to a couple minutes. Those were created a little bit longer than that. And when you want to talk about this whole why Brian Kober can't get a fair trial, it started back then. And then I did some lives, and I talked about that. I thought that it started even further back when Bill Thompson started doing press conferences with Good Morning America, the Today Show. Bill Thompson's been spreading it far and wide. Okay, literally from jump. And I just don't think I've ever seen something like that. Is early on in an investigation that you're going on the Today Show. Literally November 17th, he's on the Today Show. You're not even getting search warrants back yet. That's just, when you look back at this case and you look at it and you break it on down, I think that's just a hard pill if I was a parent to swallow. So, now Ann Taylor has filed, and they're keeping the date now. We know that the hearing is being pushed back, okay? So, but they're keeping the hearing date because there is a motion on the table, which is a compelling, it's for the defense wants the state to compel discovery. And I don't know if this has been talked enough, maybe by the right people, but this discovery that they want, do you guys know what they're looking for? It actually has something to do with supplemental request number 13, 11 and 13. Let me pull something up for you. Let's see. And I think it's interesting. Actually, I'll just print it. Yeah, there it is. On March 12th, it was filed. And I just can't remember if I spoke about it, but I need to speak about it again because it's something that's interesting. Is Ann Taylor was very, very adamant of keeping that date. She's like, well, we can go ahead and keep that date for the motion to compel. And I was like, well, I thought they got that all cleared up. They don't. And right here, defendant's 10th and 11th supplemental request. I knew it was 11. Okay. And this was filed so you guys can see, because I want to show you guys what this has to do about. This is interesting to me since we're talking about this. The document verifies BK's accounts as opposed to fake accounts using forensic analysis based on his known emails. Yes, correct. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that eventually down the road about this email or about this accountant and it's showing this, that, and the other. So I think it's very, very interesting, the number that's associated with it. Hold on. Let me back this out. So So Brian Koberger was following Brian Koberger's accounts, right? Okay. So again, this is defendant's 10th and 11th supplemental request for discovery filed here on November 8th, 2023, and on January 22nd. Okay. So there's stuff that they've been asking for since November 8th that they're just refusing. And then January 22nd. Now, what's the stuff though? Well, she gives us a little bit of a nugget here. Mr. Kober requests an order from the state to disclose the following items included in defendant's 10th supplemental request for discovery filed with the courts on November 8, 2023. Specifically, item number 214. 214. And Mr. Colbert requests an order for the state to disclose. Now, this has been since this point. Okay, this is very specific. They've been asking for it, and they can't get, the state refuses to turn this over. Okay. And it's been since November. I mean, we are in April, people. April. Like, they are refusing to turn whatever this is, that date. November, man. Okay. It is April. But they're not unless they are told to. Whatever this item is. So put that in your back pocket. Now, Mr. Colbert requests an order for the state to disclose the following items included in defendant's 11th. And this was filed in January. Okay. Specifically items 219, 224, 226. So what this means is that each time Ann is writing a request for supplemental discovery, there's numbers, and it began with number 1. And now Ann is all the way to at least to this number here. All right. But if you actually go and check out supplemental 15, you're going to see that it's way even past that. But so she wants 219, 224, 226, 227, 228, 242, 243, 245. Okay. And this has been something that has been outstanding since January 22nd, 2024. And this is going to be heard on May, whatever day it is. I think it's May 6th or something like that. So then there's been no, if you actually look at the state of Idaho judicial branch and its important cases, at no point does it say like, until you get to this right here. Number 15. Here we go. So state's response to defendant 13. State's response. I'm trying to find 11. They said that yeah, here we go. All right. So they filed this state's response to defendant's 4th supplemental request. And in it, I think I already printed this once, but whatever. We'll get another one. Hold on. I want to point out the 15th one. There it is. Okay. So '11th. State's response to defendant's 11th filed. So they're saying, we got this to you. Okay. But clearly we're missing 214. Okay. Then state's response to defendant's 12th was filed on March 25th. State's response to defendant's 13th was filed April 1st. And then, but here, I'm sorry, it was 10. Did I put that in the wrong one? Okay, I did. And there's just multiple numbers for 11. Then they have no issue there, no issue there. But then you get to here, and we have an issue. And it's interesting because I believe how this is going to get argued is that this doesn't exist. Whatever she's asking for here, I think is going to be argued as that does not exist. Okay. And then we get a bunch of numbers here, which I can't wait to hear about this at that motion. But now we get to here, which is defendant's 15th, but there's an objection. And the reason there's an objection is because Bill Thompson believes that whatever is being asked here is defense filed an objection on June 22nd, 2023. The state filed a response or a reply in support of protective order. So then disclosure information. So this is about IGG, and this is where the court says, or I'm sorry, this is where Bill Thompson is now saying that the items listed in defense 15th supplemental request for discovery pertain to IGG information, which was previously decided by the December 29, 2023 sealed order for disclosure of IGG information protection order. The state maintains that the requested information is outside the scope. So remember how Judge said, hey, I'm going to let you have, X, Y, and Z. They've come across something at some point in time here, okay, that what Ann Taylor is asking for in defense exhibit or defense supplemental 15, and it's multiple things. I don't believe it was, hey, it's old stuff that we're asking for now again to see if we could get it. It's going to be something that they hadn't located before that they're trying to get. And Bill Thompson believes that it falls outside the scope, and he talks about, all this shit, right? Well, I believe what Ann Taylor is going to be doing is she's going to be oral arguing to the fact that we didn't have this then. We got this when we did a X supplemental request, okay? And when we received this information, this discovery, it led us to whatever it led us to. And therefore, then we asked her, and then now, because of what they turned over, then we found something else, and now we are asking for X, Y, and Z. And it has to be, it's obviously biological. It's DNA, okay? It ties in some way, somehow, to the fucking DNA. And my questions are now, remember how everybody says that those other DNA samples were never touched? This unknown male DNA just sat there. And they never tested it. But do you remember how Bill Thompson said that his wording about it is that it doesn't exist? What you were asking for doesn't exist with the three unknowns. Well, what if it does exist? Okay. Whatever Ann Taylor is asking for, literally, Bill Thompson is invoking this, that it falls under IGG and all of that. Well, how in the fucking world could it possibly fall under that if all the IGG came from the FBI? I'm sorry, I just gotta go here, guys. Please explain to me, if all the IGG material was turned over to the judge for the judge to then go through and determine what Ann Taylor could or could not have, then how could Ann Taylor come across something during this freaking case yet again where she's she came across something that led her to put in a request, and now here Bill Thompson is invoking that this has to do with this IGG. And I'm over here and I was reading it one day and I'm like, wait, something is completely like bugging me about this. Like, wait, what? Like, how is he saying that this is outside the scope? Because this has to do with the IGG. When I'm thinking, wait, the feds did the IGG work, and they're the ones that had to turn it all over. Okay, and so this is so bombshell, in my opinion, and I believe that states' response without giving 214 at the 10th, so look at that date. They said that they filed their response on November 20th, 23, but yet they didn't put that in. And then there's all those numbers, okay, that they were seeking with the 11th one, okay. But yet Bill Thompson just left out one here, one off the ticket that didn't get answered. And this is what this big compelling motion is going to be about, and it's discovery. And then we get to the 15th, and the 15th supplemental request, and the state's objection is, hey, the items listed in the defendant's 15th supplemental request for discovery pertain to IGG information, which was previously decided by the December 29, 2023 sealed order for disclosure of IGG information and protection order. The state maintains that the requested information is outside the scope of the sealed order. So Ann Taylor is not a motherfucking dumbass. Okay? None of the people that are dumbasses that are working for the defense. So I don't believe that Ann Taylor is going to put something in a supplemental request number 15 that is something that she's already asked for and didn't get due to the judge's ruling, right? So then I have to ask myself, what does this logically mean? And what this logically means, in my opinion, is that she came across new material somewhere in the discovery that is leading her to believe that she would be entitled to this, or why wasn't this provided to the judge when there was the in-camera review for him to decide if we do get it or not. But Ann Taylor, in my opinion, had to come across something. And Ann Taylor is waiting for this day for this motion to compel this discovery. And she put it in on March 13th. But it was for discovery that she's been requesting since November and then in January. And so here's Bill Thompson. This is what I don't understand with the people that want to talk about this case, and they want to talk about, give us the material. If you only have one person that's working this case, and even if, how hard is it to track down the shit that they're asking for? I just can't imagine that, yeah, here, go get it. But this is how this has to work. You have all these different agencies. You have all these different idiots. And so Ann Taylor writes up here, This is what we need. Or they're going to try to email first. Hey, from this report, it said that you talked to so-and-so. Where's the report? Where's all the stuff with this other police officer with this, that, or the other? So then you're trying to track down, okay? You're tracking stuff down that for whatever reason was left out. And then you have to ask yourself, why was anything left out if when you were brought in on this case, specifically for this case, once you fill out a report and it requires your body cam, it requires this, requires that, like, I mean, this should just tell you how unorganized this all was. And Ann Taylor is making it perfectly clear when she says, listen, we're over here trying to figure out where stuff goes. And so if I have a report that says that there's a body cam that went with this and that they provided the body cam to the assistant chief and that, so, and this is the chain and this is the custody. So we have to get this shit. So here, chief, right here in this report, he says he handed it to you. Where is it? But see, that's not Ann Taylor that's doing that talking. This is then Ann Taylor explains this to Bill Thompson, right? And then Bill Thompson has to take this then to the police, his investigator, and you have to say, hey, this is what she's looking for. Where is it? And that person that you'd be talking to is none other than Brett Payne, because he's the one that was the lead investigator and put everything together. That's who, in my opinion, should be working with the prosecutor here to get everything that's being asked for, because you're going to know where it's at and you're going to be able to go and get it because you, my friend, were the one that was assigning everybody what to go do and when to go do it during the investigation. You know, whose ever investigation is, it's your job to say, hey, you know, this is what you're doing today. This is what you're doing today. And then that's who they're reporting back to, and that's who they're giving their reports to. So I would think that somebody would be assigned this. But I cannot wait to hear Bill Thompson say, I mean, Judge, I told you, Ann Taylor just thinks that there's things that exist that just do not exist. And you know what? They may not exist because they fucking buried them. But what I've come to realize in reading these reports that these officers do is that stuff does exist. They sometimes fill out a report that's not complete. But then you're also having guys that are in charge. If there was a frame job, you know what to bury and what not to bury. Okay, you know, that's fine. Go ahead, pass it on through. That's how it looks to me. So this looks to be very selective, but I just can't wait to hear about this IGG, what Ann Taylor is asking for, that is protected by this, by, hey, that's protected. That's outside the scope, right? But how did Ann Taylor come across anything else? What did she come across that actually, if it's anything to do with the IGG, it's all with the feds. So I just can't wait to hear about this. And I think it's going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be very interesting. And I cannot believe that a murder and that you have an arrest 7 weeks later and that the prosecution is still being given all of this time to get this discovery over, which Bill Thompson is saying he can, but I'll get you everything by September, you know? And then the families want to go to trial, and it's just like, I don't know anybody here who's delaying anything. I'd be calling up my prosecutor every day and saying, hey, I checked the docket today. Why doesn't Ann Taylor have this discovery? You know what I mean? If you built a case around around somebody and it was so heavily circumstantial, don't you think you would have built the case a little bit longer before you went for the person? If you needed to go gather more evidence or whatever, but if it isn't circumstantial and you have all this stuff by the time that you arrested him, I guess I just don't understand the problem with turning the stuff over. Then I think people are starting to see every day a little bit more clear that this is not Ann Taylor and these stall tactics. Okay. It was Bill Thompson and Payne having to disrupt the survey. And I think by them making all of that public, they just blew their foot out. That you just ruined your chances of Lake Talk County having it because of what you just did. Now, Lana, read my comment above. They obviously didn't think they had enough because to get a trash warrant out of Washington, that's why they traveled to PA. Yeah, or if they got the PA trash back in November. Because I would love to know how much trash was taken. Like, how do you know that that's like, you're going to have to test a bunch of different pieces because you don't know what's going to, if you're taking something out of the trash, unless you physically saw somebody put it there that you know what item you're grabbing. You'd have to grab multiple pieces of trash, right? And you're testing this trash. And then he lives with his mom, he lives with his wife. He has other siblings then. I can't imagine that there wouldn't be other hits coming back. And it's only Brian Kohlberger's dad that uses the trash. So the other thing here I want to pull up, we did a trash video thanks to, I think, is she in chat? I had my trash Nazis. New Orleans lady, are you still in here? I have a video. I think I saved it. Because you guys remember all these hit pieces. Girl, yeah. No, you're gonna I get it. I get it. They couldn't get his DNA. They were trying to attempting to get his DNA. I mean, they couldn't get his DNA. They needed a trash warrant and they didn't have enough to get it, they just weren't passing out fucking warrants. Sorry, this stuff goes on the when I'm on the StreamYard side, all of the stuff, these comments are all out of whack, and so I'm sorry if I missed any of you guys. But check this out. Let's see. Love the trash video. This video is just, let's see if I can find it. I saved it somewhere. Okay. All right, I think I found it. Let me see your trash. God, where's my trash video? I'm pissed off about my trash video. Oh, videos. I'll just go like this. I know I made a video about it. I'm just burning my trash back here. Mm. Maybe I'm gonna have to have New Orleans lady go find that for me. I don't know. It's not coming up. I swear it was an informant who gave it up. It'll come out. I don't know. I don't know about that. I wanted to talk again about the process because remember it was a police officer that said, "Hey, Brian Culver was double bagging it with some gloves and separating his trash." That's what was happening. That's what was said to the, that got put out to the media because an alleged, police officer said this. So, it's never come out which officer said it. No one's ever, given up that, was looking at the search warrant trash. Yeah, the way that you have to separate your trash in Pennsylvania in this area where they live is a lot different. So I was looking for a video. I did a video on this, and we got a lot of information and intel, and I was tracking down. Yeah, I looked everywhere for that video a couple months ago and couldn't find it. I know I got to go through my stuff. I know that it's out there. I know that I have it, obviously, but it was interesting because we were looking to see what day of the week trash day was for the Kohlbergers. But around Christmas time and holidays, remember, like our trash gets all tossed off differently. Like for us over here, when you have a holiday, it automatically your trash day moves one day, and everybody knows that. Hey, if your trash was picked up on Monday, now automatically it's going to be, it's going to be on Tuesday. So, but I know that I also have the damn thing saved on one of my hard drives. I got all these external drips over here. Nothing like little hard drives around here. So I gotta find it. I'll find it. But I just know that it's out there on my playlist. I think I just go searching for 700 videos, It's not 700, but anyways, as far as the Garrett discovery document, I'm not saying that Garrett discovery, guys, it's very interesting that they were used then for this purpose when they were contacted from Inside Edition to enhance audio. They went from enhancing audio to then like being, oh wait, here, this is, maybe it was backwards. Maybe, the reason that Inside Edition was contacted by Garrett Discovery was because Inside Edition was told to go to them because, I don't know. I don't know. The FBI took down my video, man. Come on now. But yeah, it'll definitely be interesting with this compelling, but I think that when they want to say that when Brian Kober was arrested, at the time of his arrest or right before he was arrested, that was his and it linked back. Well, people had time because that name was given out. There was a leak, y'all. There is still a leak. There is still a leak because I just feel like Steve Gonsalves is a couple steps ahead. And I'm very curious where he gets his information from. And there's no knock in that. There's no knock in that. But he was already, you know, I think there's some leaks over there in Moscow. I think there's some birdies out there. I do. So, any possible hit at the name of the video? I mean, I thought I had the word trash in it. You know, so I looked at all my videos that say trash in it. You don't even want to know what came up. You trash bags out there. No. If you actually go into my page, I think it's under, I know it's part of the list I have. So, here, let me look. I'll look one more time. I'm really upset that it's not coming up on my hard drive. It's not the IGG one. It's the trash one that I did. Because it has all the information about the development that Brian Kober lived in with his parents. I'll try one more time here. Let me take a look. Let's go to... Is it a pre-recorded video? You know, no, I think it was a live. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it. Maybe if I go to playlists, see if I can narrow this down some more. If you go to the University of Idaho murder page, that playlist, videos, let's see. Trash. God, that's not coming up that way. God. Yeah. I'll have to go through it, guys. It was back right after. Well, here I can tell you when it was. If you type in Brian Kober's trash in just regular YouTube search, it says a year ago, Inside Edition did this. FBI saw Idaho suspect Brian Kober take out trash with gloves report. So let's take another look at this then. So the same source here is Inside Edition running with this one. Inside Editions with Garrett Discovery.
Suspect Brian Koberger allegedly dumped trash into the garbage cans of his parents' neighbors as he hid evidence linking him to the 4 Idaho student murders. FBI agents watching his parents' home in Pennsylvania reportedly saw Koberger wearing surgical gloves and go house to house at 4 a.m. with garbage bags.
The agents immediately go retrieve the trash. And it's a good thing they did, because they found in that trash discarded items that match back to the sheath that was left beside one of the dead victims on the bed.
That's not
Chilling
even true.
new details are emerging about the morning after the murders. Prosecutors say he actually returned to the murder scene at 9:12 a.m. that morning and stayed in the area for 14 minutes.
We know, based on this affidavit, a knife sheath was left in the home. Was this the murderer returning, wanting to try to somehow collect what he forgot at the scene? Or as we know,
Well,
in
then
our
why didn't he go
experience,
in?
sometimes
There's no
murderers
cops there.
go back to the scene just to see what's happening.
We're also learning more about what Koberger did later that day. Cell phone records show that roughly 8.5 hours after the murders, Koberger drove an hour from his home to the small town of Clarkston, Washington. He drove past a drive-through coffee stand and then went shopping at an Albertsons grocery store. The next day, he drove 100 miles to Johnson, Idaho, an isolated area of the state. Why remains a mystery.
I don't know what, if anything, we'll find there except possibly the murder weapon.
Legal experts say the evidence in the case seems to be overwhelming.
You have a very powerful piece of DNA evidence from the scene linked back to him.
We also have all of the surveillance video, all of the cell phone records.
So what could his defense possibly be? Famed defense attorney Mark Garrett says it may not be the slam dunk everyone thinks it is.
The defense is going to bring up the fact that his phone was not in the area and did not ping during the time of the crimes, number one. Number two, that the FBI changed their story on the Elantra as to what year the model was. And number three, that they, so far, the DNA is not admissible, what they put in the probable cause affidavit.
I spoke with the father of murder victim, Kaylee Gonsalves. So if he were to try to strike a plea deal to save his life and avoid the death penalty, how would you feel about that?
I'd be against it and I would fight it, but I still have other parents that I have to work with.
This is a process where the family is prepared for, they're ready for the long haul, and we'll all get through it.
More questions are being raised today about surviving roommate Dylan Mortensen. She came face to face with the masked intruder and didn't call 911 for 8 hours. Police quote her as saying she was in a state of frozen shock.
I was shocked. It's not what you would expect to see, and now we have an eyewitness, which just makes our case even stronger.
I definitely disagree with that, but yeah, when you guys go back through these, like, here you go.
We have new details on what Brian Koberger was doing right before his arrest. Police says a tactical team burst in to arrest the Idaho murder suspect. He was in pajamas and latex gloves, stuffing trash into Ziploc bags. He was taken into custody at his parents' home in Pennsylvania back in December. Now, leading up to this arrest, investigators were unable to find any of his DNA in the family's garbage, but they were still able to get a sample from a family member to match Koberger to the DNA found in the knife sheath at the scene of the crime. Koberger is due back in court in late June.
Wait, you guys, who provided this piece?
Details on
right here, this is new details.
We have new details on what Brian.
Who is your source of this information? Idaho murder suspect Brian Koberger was busted in PJs stuffing trash. Did you guys see what this title says? Look at this title. Idaho murders suspect Brian Koberger was busted in PJs, stuffing trash in Ziploc bags. Prosecutor says. Does that say prosecutor says? What? You see, prosecutor says. This came from right here. According to a local prosecutor. Well, he wasn't there. The local prosecutor wasn't there, was he? So the local prosecutor was there when they busted in. I don't know. Did you hear that Brian Koberger was in pajamas? Did you see, or when Brian Koberger in pajamas?
And Koberger was doing right before his arrest. Police says a tactical team burst in to arrest the Idaho murder suspect. He was in pajamas and latex gloves, stuffing trash into Ziploc bags. He was taken into custody at his parents' home in Pennsylvania back in December. Now, leading up to this arrest, investigators were unable to find any of his DNA in the family's garbage, but they were still able to get a sample from a family member to match Koberger to the DNA found in the knife sheath at the scene of the crime. Koberger is due back in court in late June.
Oh, just wild. I think all of this is wild. Idaho murder suspect threw out trash
this morning as University of Idaho students return to campus and prepare for classes to begin.
Oh my God, I thought that was his butt. Look at this, you guys. Look right here. play like photo hunt. Ready, watch.
This morning, as University of Idaho students return to campus and prepare for
Right there.
classes to begin later
I
this
thought that
week.
was
I
booty.
breathe a sigh of relief. I'm pretty sure that my mom did the same thing.
Students and parents alike say they feel a sense of security now that police have a suspect in custody for November's killing of 4 students at this off-campus house.
There is security a lot of places, so I felt comfortable just walking around here.
As students unpack personal belongings, the school is also promising new security measures, including more officers on campus and increased police patrols in neighborhoods near the university. Less than 30 minutes away, Washington State University students are remembering the classmate now under arrest for the brutal murders, telling the Idaho Statesman newspaper that the criminology student often spoke up during classroom discussions of murder investigations. But when the topic of the Idaho slangs arose, one student recalling he was completely silent. An affidavit laying out details of the crime scene reveals the suspect, 28-year-old Brian Koberger, was on investigators' radar as early as November 29th, 16 days after the students were brutally stabbed to death. According to the affidavit, one of the surviving roommates was awake at the time of the murders, telling police the killer came within feet of her bedroom door as he exited the house, but police say no one called 911 for another 8 hours. Investigators say 2 survivors are not suspected of any wrongdoing, and there's still no word on a motive. Koberger has pleaded not guilty and is due back in court Thursday.
Wait, I'm confused because I thought this was about trash.
This morning, as University of Idaho
murder suspect threw out trash in neighbors' bins. Did you guys hear anything about that? Is it maybe like, did I miss it? Right here?
Even with an arrest in the case, he'll be staying in groups to prioritize safety. Christy,
I don't think that I did hear it. So
this morning, as University of Idaho.
So we'll continue on. Inside Edition.
Book has people wondering if it was really Koberger. It was posted on November 30th.
Wait, okay.
Did accused killer Brian Koberger secretly pose as a citizen sleuth investigating the murders? A posting on Facebook has people wondering if it was really Koberger. It was posted on November 30th after police announced the victims were killed with a large knife. This leads me to believe they found the sheath. It proved chillingly accurate. Prosecutors now say a knife sheath was left behind at the scene, and important DNA evidence was found on the button snap. The mysterious citizen sleuth also posted this theory. Killer parked behind the house, approached the property through tree line, entered sliding door. That matches what police now say actually happened. Former FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer believes the mystery sleuth is Koberger.
They love to reach out to the media. They love to reach out to police and sort of taunt. And it's part of their narcissistic behavior, believing they are not going to get caught, even dangling these carrots, just almost edging people to catch them.
As classes resume after winter break here at Washington State University in Pullman, students and faculty return knowing that one of their own sits in jail 8 miles away, accused of 4 brutal slayings. This video is going viral on social media today.
There's Brian.
Speculation that it's Koberger attending a heart-wrenching vigil for the victim held at the University of Idaho 2 weeks after the murders. One of the most powerful moments of tonight's vigil was when, look, the same man was walking behind me as I was reporting that night. There he is again. We can definitely say the online speculation is not accurate. He's clearly not Brian Koberger.
Thank you.
And the sister of victim Kaylee Gonsalves is coming to the defense of Dylan Mortensen. Dylan is the surviving roommate who came face to face with the killer, but did not call 911 for 8 hours.
Dylan is really young, and she was probably really, really scared. And until we have any more information, I think everyone should stop passing judgments.
I think Olivia's done well with her, as well as she could with all of this. Idaho, okay.
Pieces of evidence in the case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have covered this case extensively here on Sidebar, and it is one that has captured the attention of the entire world. It's kind of strange to think.
You know, I think the town is still very much like coping with everything, especially since the legal process is ongoing. The trial has been delayed. They thought maybe it would happen this year. It's now not happening. So it's kind of like everyone here is in this weird limbo. Like they want to try and move on somewhat, but it's really hard to do that.
I want to hear a little bit more about this, though. Well, there we go.
Welcome back. New developments this morning in the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students. Brian Koberger, of course, is awaiting a preliminary hearing. That has been set for June in the state of Idaho. We're learning more now about his arrest in Pennsylvania. He was taken into custody at his parents' home in Pennsylvania. And yesterday, the Monroe County Assistant District Attorney, Michael Mancuso, shared more about what Koberger was allegedly doing in that time with BRC-TV 13. Take a listen.
Mr. Koberger was found awake in the kitchen area, dressed in shorts and a shirt and wearing latex medical type gloves, and apparently was taking his personal trash and putting it into separate Ziploc baggies.
Another development. While prosecutors have not announced that they are going to pursue the death penalty in the quadruple murder case, a judge has granted the defense request for a death penalty qualified attorney to join.
How do they know that he was separating his trash? The reason we did this live back in the day is because we found out lots of shit about the trash over there. So that video is really important. But I'm just curious, how did you prove that the trash that he was separating only had his DNA on it? So let me get this straight. Brian Koberger was throwing away his trash like normal, then would wake up in the middle of the night when everybody was sleeping to then sort through the trash, to then decide what was his or that he possibly thought was his, to then put it in a separate bag. I just... Let's see. Yeah. There it is. There it is. Yes, there it is. You guys, they have rules around those parts. Chapter 175, solid waste in the Pocono. Garbage and refuse shall be collected once a week by the borough from all single-family residents, multifamily residents, and PRDs within the borough limits. B is very important. B, all garbage or refuse shall be placed in approved containers at approved pickup areas along public right-of-way within the borough. All garbage and refuse must be contained within bags, and all bags must be placed in secure containers of a type acceptable to and approved by the borough. There shall be a limit of 3 containers per dwelling unit. No garbage or refuse shall be placed for collection prior to 24 hours before the scheduled pickup of garbage. All empty garbage containers must be removed from the roadside within 24 hours. Otherwise, you will be ticketed.
Join his legal team. You can see where this obviously is going. Still with us in Columbia, South Carolina, former prosecutor and SLED agent Tommy Pope, and in New York, trial attorney Bruce Rosenberg.
All right, guys, that's going to round it out for me. Again, go check it out. I will try to do my job and my part by finding that amazing trash video. But the Garrett Discovery doc, I think the only people that should be talking about that should be Garrett Discovery. They should be describing it all to us. If and in fact they wanted that to be peddled around. Yes. And that's where this is going to end. So go back, rewind it. You guys have a great night. Much love to all y'all. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, members.